Hi, so we're just going to do a quick and dirty video about the chord structures in I Could Write a Book. And the big chord structure we want to talk about is what's called a 2-5, which is part of what's called a 2-5-1. And the basic rule of a 2-5 is that the 2 chord in a particular key, in the key of C, that would be D minor. The 2 chord is minor, and the 5 chord is a dominant 7th. So what normally people call a 7th chord. So in the key of C, where the scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, the 2 is D, C, D, the 3 is E, the 4 is F, the 5 is G. So a 2-5-1 is 2 D minor, 5 G7. And then if you went back to the 1, that's the normal thing to do. But we're not going to go that far. We're just going to talk about a 2-5-1, okay? Or a 2-5, I'm sorry. Now, here's something to remember about it. These 2-5s don't have to be in the key that the song is in. You might get 2-5s in all different keys within one song if you're exploring this kind of Great American Songbook stuff, like George Gershwin, and in this case Rodgers and Hart, and Irving Berlin, and Cole Porter, all that kind of stuff. So the 2 chord, if you look for one, if you have a 2 chord, anywhere that root note occurs. So if we have an A minor, it's going to be, the 2 is going to be minor, the A note is here, and then the 5 chord will be right next to it. The D is here. This is A, D. If we were doing D minor, like in the key of C, you'd have the D here, and the G would be right next to it on these root notes on the 2 low strings. The other way it could be, see, if you have for example, a D at the 5th fret of the A string and a G here, you also have a G an octave lower down here. So if your 2 chord, if the root note is on the low string, the 5 chord root note will be right next to it. So you have A minor, D7, okay? If the root note is on the A string, then the root of the 2 chord, then the root note of the 5 chord will be on the lower string 2 frets below it. So a 2-5 in D minor could go 2, there's D minor, and then 5 is the G, or it could go 2, and then the 5 would be down here, and you have a G there too. So if you have a good repertoire of chords, then you can find 2-5s all over the neck. You could have a 2-5 here, D minor, G7, here, D minor, G7, here, D minor, G7, and I could go on and on and on, but I won't. I could write a book, okay? So now we go to the part about I could write a book. So in I Could Write a Book, you have C, A minor, and then 2-5, a D minor, G, and then that could kind of repeat. There's various chords you could use here. And then that's a passing diminished, and then you could have a 2-5. And then it might go, here comes Suki the dog. You want to get on the camera here, honey bunny? Come here. Let's get that little head up there. Hang on. Come here. That's my girl. It's my girl. Now we're going to continue the lesson. Okay. Off you go. Whoop, she's going to play the guitar. Okay, so where were we? So you have that da 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 2-5, 1 sharp diminished, 2-5, and then there's a little bit that goes do. You go 1 2 3 1, and then 2-5 again, D minor, G, and then it goes into a 2-5 for a different key. It goes A minor, D7, and we already talked about that one. And then it does that again, 2-5, and this time it goes to G, which is the 1 chord of the key of G, but we're in the key of C, so it's a 5 chord. So it's a little jump into a different key than you were in originally. And then it repeats that, A minor, D7, G, and then it goes into E minor as a 2 chord, A7, and then that would be a 2-5, and then the 1 there would be G, and then it goes from the, D, I'm sorry, and then it goes to the D minor, which is a 2-5-1. So it goes like this: E minor, A7, D, D minor, G, and that's a 2-5. Then it goes through this again. Da 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 da. There's our 2-5 again. And then my dog is going to get in the way. She wants to bang my guitar. And then we go to 2-5 in, it's actually an E minor, so you have the open E string and then the open A string for the A7. Remember, the 2 is always a minor chord and the 5 is always a dominant 7th. And then from there it goes to G minor, C7. The G is here, the C is here, right? And then it goes F, F minor, and then you could do a 2-5, another 2-5 E minor, A7, and then a 2-5 in C, D minor, G7, and then you're home. Okay, so that whole thing would go da 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 da. 2-5, da da da, and you could do here this 2-5, A minor. A lot of times they'll do a walk down, da 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 This is a substitution. I'm doing a G11 and then a G. So then we go A minor, da 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 da, D7, G minor, C7, F, F minor, and then E minor, A7, D minor, G7, C. So I'm just going to play through this and tell you where the 2-5s are. You'll have to figure out what key they're in. It's a short lesson, okay? So 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, and then it goes 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 2-5-1, and that'll do you. So what you want to do is learn a bunch of 2-5s and be able to find them all over the neck. Find ones with the root note on the low string for the 2 and on the A string for the 5, and then find chords with the root note on the A string for the 2, and then the lower string 2 frets down for the 5s. So it's either this way or this way. Okay? Have fun with that. Bye-bye.